God. Ask God.
God bless you and your family, Scott. My name is Will, and I have an interesting question. I sell a private label product that is a seasonal item in patio, lawn, and garden category. Sales are highest during the summer months and lowest in the winter months. It's a drop off of about 50%. I have a really good problem as inventory is selling quite rapidly, and I project to sell out entirely within a month. But I don't know if I should replenish my inventory now or wait until spring of next year. What is your take on this? Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing I need to say is this is why I do what I do, being able to connect with people like Will. Will, thank you so much for the kind words, and I just really want to say thank you. Shake your hand virtually here. We're shaking hands now, so put out your hand, Will. Let's go ahead. Handshake. What's up, man? How you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I mean, the reason why I do the podcast is for that right there. I mean, being able to connect with people like you and everyone else that's listening. So thank you so much. All right. So to get into your question, great question, by the way. I think this is an awesome question because you have a great product that's selling well, but it's seasonal. All right. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it is going to be a little bit of a struggle because if you don't take the sales that you're doing when you have your high season, right, and then you bank some of that money for the off season, well, then all of a sudden it's out of balance, right? So what we have to do is we have to figure out, like, how do we fill in that gap, right? So are there products, first off, is there products that can be sold in your market, okay, alongside that same product or something similar? If not, then you almost have to go with a whole nother product or market that isn't seasonal. So this way here, it can balance that. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is if you are going to be running out of inventory and then you're just going to let it sit and then reorder, I would not advise that. And here's why. Even if you're only making a few sales here and there, to me, you're keeping the listing alive. I would rather do that than have my competition be doing that. And then when you get back in stock, it's going to be harder for you to get back. Now, I can't prove that. I can't say that, well, you know what, if you ran out of stock and you were selling 30 a day and then you got back in stock in spring and then all of a sudden your sales took right back off again. I can't say that for sure, but my common sense, okay, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm not really that smart of a guy as far as book smart, but I have pretty good common sense. I can pretty much figure out things that make sense, right? I've got pretty good common sense, and common sense to me tells me here that I would rather keep a listing growing or at least maintaining versus letting it kind of die, right? It's kind of like taking a flower and trying to pour water on it to bring it back to life. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? It's just not going to work. We're going to have to pull it up and plant a new one, right? We don't want that. And I think if you can continually get sales, then I would just order enough to keep the inventory in. Or if you have to order a certain number, let's say you have to order 1,000 units. Well, I wouldn't ship all 1,000 units in. Maybe you're going to sell 10 a day and you have 300. So you need 300 in there for a month. So just ship in 300 and let the other 700 sit in your garage or your basement or a warehouse, something you're going to pay less than if you're going to have Amazon store it. So that's what I would do. I would not recommend running out and staying out of stock for 4, 5, 6 months. I wouldn't think that would make a ton of sense. The other thing I would ask myself is it so seasonal that you couldn't get outside sales, for that product, or is it just, more sales come during, maybe the summer months and then it dies off a little bit, but you still have some sales and you can still get sales outside of Amazon. What I'm getting at is, can you build some type of group or a fan page or email list around this product or this market? So while you're doing this, you're also going to be building. So this way here, when you do launch, you're going to be able to really, really boost your sales and start to maybe get outside sales. And that will kind of fill in or kind of backfill on some of that low season. Now, if anyone out there listening right now is like, well, I don't really know even if my product is a seasonal item or not. I've talked about this on a workshop that we do. You guys can head over to theamazingseller.com/workshop. There's a couple different workshops that we're doing. We're doing one on product research and we're doing one on the 5 phases to launching. You can go to that page, see which one is up, or if there's an option there to select one there that is suited to where you are. But we do a product research one there, and we do dive into kind of like how to see if something's seasonal, the depth, the demand, all of that stuff. But in this case, I'll just give it to you really, really quickly. Google Trends is probably your best friend to look at a market, okay? So if you're gonna search for snow shovel, you're gonna see that it's gonna spike in December, January, February, and it's gonna drop all the way down and flatline probably the rest of the year. Now, if you also want to use a product that's already been selling or even see how long it's been selling, you can go to camelcamelcamel.com, take that ASIN or that URL, that link, and put that in there in that camel, and it will tell you how long it's been selling. It'll show you the price changes that have happened. It'll show you the BSR over time, all of that stuff. Really, really useful. I actually did a video walkthrough kind of showing you how to do product research, but also for depth and demand. That's episode 189. Again, I'll throw all these links in the show notes, but I'll just give it to you guys now. It's theamazingseller.com/189, and that will give you like depth, demand type stuff and kind of how to see like the history of a product. So that's a good one. And again, it's just something that we have to do this research, okay? And I know, Will, that wasn't 100% of your question, but for anyone else that's listening, it's really important to understand that because you could be looking at the numbers like, you know, at a busy time of the year or in a trend, and you won't know that until you launch. And then you're like, wait a minute here. I was having 15 sales a day and now I'm down to 1. Why? Well, part of the reason could be because it's seasonal, right? So all of the product, even though I had demand, everyone is sharing that demand. So hopefully that makes sense. And I know that was a long-winded answer, but Will, I would probably say try to stay in stock and keep the listing alive, right? Keep it fed, keep it watered, right? Keep that thing alive. So that way there, when you are ready to get your sales back, you're still constantly building in that process. And I would definitely try to continually build some type of launch list or something that you can then also use to spike sales whenever you want. So anyway, that's the answer to your question. Thank you so much for it. And well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business. So definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there and some of it is really, really good. But what I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business. And this way here, you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.